This is an installation video about the RAV4 Running Board Kit. This is my 2021 RAV4 Prime. I looked at some aftermarket ones and I decided that these Toyota OEM ones were actually the best ones out there. This is just basically a plastic cover with some metal inserts, and then underneath it's a really very well built board. I'm assuming it's stainless steel, maybe aluminum, I'm not sure. This kit is so helpful for helping kids get into the car by themselves without having to be lifted. The process might take 90 minutes to 3 hours, and this method saves $140 for not having to get the second piece that goes inside, and about $450 for the dealership labor to install it. Also helps you reach the cargo hood. If you want to torque this to spec, you're going to want a torque wrench and a 1 5/16 socket or a 33mm socket. If you're using a multi-tool, you're going to want to use hearing protection and consider eye protection. I bought this kit for about $320 from BAM Wholesale Parts, and there was a little ambiguity about whether a secondary part was needed in order that goes under here in addition to this. As it turns out, it's probably a little bit easier to just modify the part that's there, and that's apparently what they do. That's apparently what Toyota recommends in the Australian instructions, but in the US instructions, they recommend buying this other part that goes under here. And these instructions are going to be for just buying the running board and its hardware and not buying that second part, but modifying the part that's existing. When I received the kit, it only came with this piece of paper, and this number didn't really help me using the link that they had in here. So this basically had no instructions. There was one video online that gave me some helpful instructions, and I'm basically redoing those, except a little more concise in this video. I believe that it works on 2019, all the RAV4s of 19, up through I don't know when. Aside from my little pad and these ramps that I'm using to elevate this to just make it a little bit easier, we've got these two components, the cover and the kind of bracket thing. Here's all the parts in the order that they're going to be installed. These little nut things, these guys, these fasteners, 2 of these, and then 2 of these. I'm using something to cut plastic, a socket set, a large crescent wrench, and a couple of shims that are gonna, or anything that helps open this up. I'm also using this little tool, something that can help get these fasteners that are very flush off the car. In the Australian instructions, a bunch of parts of this are removed, and you have to take off 19 fasteners to get this piece off. And in the YouTube video I saw, there's somebody just modified it, and I'm gonna modify it in a slightly different and more clear way. This is the fastener. There are some parts that are better to grab onto on the inside. There's areas of it that have kind of a lip, and other areas that don't really have a lip. You've got to remove these fasteners, and you want to pay attention to the side that you're getting into. If you go in on this side, there's not really anything to pull back on there. So you want to go behind that shape because there's a ledge. There's a ledge right there that you can hook onto. The back 3 fasteners and the front 3 fasteners have to get removed, and the 2 in the middle don't have to get removed. The reason they have to get removed is that this is going to go in here and create a clamp, and this little raised circle in here has to be registered inside of that hole perfectly. It can't be on the outside of it. So in order to get the spacing right, this can't be here for the width of these nuts. So these pieces have to get cut out in the front and back 3. Also, anything that's coming along the edge, this edge here, this all has to get taken out, because when this piece goes in, it needs to be flush against here. So the back 3 and the front 3 have to be cut away in order to accommodate the width of this very large nut. And also this piece here, this whole This whole piece has to be removed along the edge and cut away so that this bracket will fit on to this part properly. The two in the middle, the sidewall goes away, but they don't have to be cut away because no nuts are going to go in here. Having something like a little shim will help you pry this away from the body of the car so that you don't scratch the body of the car. This clamp goes in here with that wing facing back. When it gets tightened, it's very important that at the end, it's not, there's no gap between this piece and this nut. That little raised circle is flush and fitted inside there. Here's the stuff that's getting discarded from that piece. So these two caps now go back in here. I added a little bit of waterproof sealant, some kind of silicone sealant in some of this stuff, but it's not necessary. These are supposed to be torqued to 33 foot-pounds. I have a torque wrench, but I didn't have a 1 5/16 socket or a 33 millimeter socket, so I've just used a large crescent wrench and tried to estimate about 33 pounds of force at 1 foot of distance from there. These pieces go into here. They go here, there, 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 and on the end. This piece goes here and there. It's helpful, but not necessary to have a jack to just kind of hold this up a little bit. Not putting too much pressure on it or anything, but just to hold it, especially if you don't have a second person working with you. These 1/2-inch nuts go on like that, and it's helpful to have a socket with an extension to put those on. These should be 18 foot-pounds. These cutouts are here to preserve access to your jack points. These tabs here are going to slide into these holes here. Everything is aligned into those slots in the back. You're going to pop this down, make sure all the blue points are sticking out underneath, and then you can push those all down. Last step is to secure these 18 millimeter bolts into those clips. This kit from Toyota is called PZQ44-42121.